Today we're going to analyse Carol Brown by Flight of the Conchords. We're going to have a look at harmony, melody, structure and lyrics. Let's hook into it. The harmony is pretty straightforward in this song. Everything is in D major. We don't have any non-diatonic chords. Everything's pretty safe and solidly in D. Our verse chord progression starts on a D, we move to a D6, we've got a D major 7, an A sus 2, and then an A dominant 7, sus 2. All diatonic, and these would be the Roman numerals. All diatonic to D. With our refrain, we get to hear an F sharp minor, a B minor, an E minor, before going back to the D as the main resolution there. And then our B section gives us the E minor, D, and A. The harmony is pretty straightforward, but we need to establish that as the base for what we're looking at next, which is melody. There are so many melodic motifs in this song. The first thing that we're introduced to is the main melodic hook. It keeps coming back and it is wildly memorable. There are a few reasons why it's so hooky and why it gets so stuck in your brain. We have an octave between the first two notes, followed by a descending melody that leads back down that octave. The rhythm is fairly straight. The main interest is the variation between the emphasis on beats 1, 2, and 3 in bar 1 and the omission of a note on beat 3 in bar 2. They also have a shift in duration of the notes with crotchets in bar 1 and quavers in bar 2. So even though it's fairly straight, we do have rhythmic interest there. My favourite part about this hook is the fact that it leads back into itself. The B that starts the melody fits perfectly into the descending melody as the final note of that movement. It's just this seamless repeating pattern that could go on forever. Melodically, the verses are pretty simple. The vocal line stays pretty consistently within a major fifth, but we do get a non-diatonic addition of a flat 4 on Lisa got amnesia, just forgot who I am. And then we have the refrain. Now, the reason that refrain is so memorable is because we get out of the major fifth that's established in the verse and go up to the sixth, the B, before resolving back down to the D, which is the biggest leap we've heard in the melody so far. We haven't had anything that dramatic in the vocal line before the melody tracks back up through 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, which is the major pentatonic scale. Then it goes back to 1, down to 6, and then a final resolution to D, that 1 again. It's really nice to listen to, it feels safe, but it also feels interesting. Rhythmically, the distinct part about that refrain is the rest between town and but I'm hoping that you'll stick around, as well as the triplet on bus out of, which is the first bit of syncopation we've heard in the melody so far. In the B section, we get this really nice call and response between Jermaine singing the lead vocal and the female chorus. It's all very diatonic still, but it does include higher vocal melodies in that female chorus than what we've heard before. We do get another melodic hook introduced here with the R in the backing vocals at the end of the section too. I love this piece structurally. It's really not what you'd expect, but it completely makes sense when you listen to the song. So we get started with the hook, which is 6 bars, followed by a 24-bar verse. Then we get the refrain, which is 4 bars plus 1 bar of 2/4, almost like a half bar there. Then we get the hook, which is 2 bars, followed by a B section, which is 24 bars. Then another hook, which is 4 bars this time. So each time we've heard the hook, it hasn't been the same duration. Then we get a verse. Now it's only 8 bars rather than the 24 that we've heard previously. Then we get a slightly shorter refrain. This time it's 3 bars plus 1 bar of 2/4. Then a B section, now 32 bars instead of 24 that we'd heard before, followed by a refrain, which now is the same duration as the first refrain that we heard, 4 bars plus 1 bar of 2/4. And then we finish on the hook, which is 10 bars. I love that there's so much variation in repeating sections here. So we hear a verse that we're expecting to be 24 bars, and then the next time we hear it, it's 8. Or we hear a refrain at 4 bars plus a half bar, and then the next time we hear it, it's 3 bars. And that hook is never the same duration. We've got 6, 2, 4, and then 10. And I love that. I think it's so well done. It's really carefully crafted and a really fun way to have variation in the song while having it still feel stable and familiar for audiences. The lyrics are big. Lyrically, Carol Brown follows the song map of problem, declaration. We've got a problem, we keep hearing a declaration about it, we go back to a problem, we develop it, and then we can do another declaration about it, and so on and so forth. That's the idea for this song. So the core issue is just how many women have left this man previously. We go through names, we go through scenarios, that's what we keep coming back to. Verse 1 establishes the issue, and then we hear the refrain as the declaration of, but I'm hoping that you'll stick around. So this is what's happened previously, but now I'm hoping that it'll be different with you. It feels relatable and it feels polite. Like he's not being pushy about it, but he's showing interest. If you've seen the show Flight of the Conchords, it's not what you'd expect from Jermaine. The problem is then developed in the B section with the introduction of the testimonies of the previous girlfriends. So suddenly we get a little bit of insight into perhaps why these people left him, what the scenario was from their side of things rather than just his. And we also get Jermaine saying shut up and being quite rude to them. So it does make you wonder if perhaps he's not the best person to hang out with. Then we get more examples of women leaving him, a little bit more insight into what he's been through in verse 2. So we're developing the problem before we hit the refrain again, but this time it's missing his relatable declaration. In the second B section, we find him trying to justify his past and providing more examples. And then we get the final refrain, which has a little bit more emphasis on the stick around part of the lyric. Now, overall, these lyrics are rhyme city. It is jam-packed with couplets, internal rhymes. Everything rhymes with everything. Most of the rhymes are found in groups of 2, 3, or 4, but there are some variations in there. A lot of the patterns are slant rhymes to other lines, so that means the same vowel sound but a different consonant sound. And then we get perfect rhymes in their overall grouping. I've broken these sections down mostly into groupings of 4 lines, just so it makes a little bit more sense with what we're looking at. Firstly, in here, we get an A-B rhyme scheme in the first 4 lines. We've got Loretta, letter, better as our A rhyme, and then Joan, phone, tone alone as our B. Then we get A again with Jen, again, again, again. A lot of agains there. Followed by a B pattern with Jan, man. And then we get a C rhyme with Lisa and amnesia before we go back to the B on am, which rounds out that section there as an A, B, C, B pattern. Then we get an A, B, C, D pattern with Felicity, electricity as our A, Emily, chemistry, B, Fran, ran, man as C, flow, go, flow, D. Our refrain is AAA, we've got brown, town and around. And then our B section, we get an A pattern first, material, cereal, followed by a B with fast, last, past. And that's the female chorus there. Then we get CC with thing and sing. And then we come back to the B rhyme in past to round out that section. So that one overall goes A, B, C, B. When we get to the next verse, it's mostly rhyming with itself, but we do have a B rhyme internally in the middle of line 3. We've got an A rhyme with this me sound in Mimi, me, Brittany, me, Persephone, Stephanie, me. But then inside that, we've got Paula and Stella as a B rhyme for a little bit of interest in the middle of that there. Then we get our refrain again. Carol Brown just took a bus out of town. This time we're just hearing Brown and town. We don't have that I'm hoping you'll stick around. And then we get to the next B section, which has, again, we've got an AA, breeze and me, and then B, world and girls, rule and fool as C, up, up as D, and then Mona, coma, E, Tiffany, epiphany, F, cereal as a completely separate new idea there. We'll call that G. And then we get back to the brown in Carol Brown. Now I'm calling this an H just because it blends into that B section. So here, basically we just rhyme it out. So we've got this brown sound for the rest of the song. We've got it on brown, town, around, and then around, 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 around in that outro there. It's just packed full of rhymes. Everything rhymes with everything. It's really fun and it fits the song. It makes total sense with the vibe that they're going for and what they're doing with it. There's a lot of clever rhymes in there, and the way they go about it just highlights how witty they are and how great they are at writing lyrics. I haven't got into the rhythms in this song, but I will give an honourable mention to this guitar part. Let me know if there's anything that you think's worth mentioning that I haven't spoken about in this video, and I'll see you next time.